Hello and welcome to this episode of Trojan Poetry. I've picked the poem. Mike has not read it. It's going to be short and sweet this week. Here we go. This is called The Things by Donald Hall. When I walk in my house, I see pictures, bought long ago, framed and hanging. De Kooning, Arp, Laurencin, Henry Moore, that I've cherished and stared at for years. Yet my eyes keep returning to the masters of the trivial, a white stone perfectly round, tiny lead models of baseball players, a cowbell, a broken great-grandmother's rocker, a dead dog's toy. Valueless, unforgettable detritus that my children will throw away as I did my mother's souvenirs of trips with my dead father, Kodaks of kittens, and bundles of cards from her mother, Kate.
That's sad.
Yeah.
That's really sad.
Yeah.
It is exciting that he used the word detritus, though. That's awesome. And, okay, so de Kooning, I know, is, what would you call that? Abstract.
Primitive? Isn't that like primitive? Yeah.
Abstract shapes.
It looks like there's mud on the... Is that the one that looks like there's mud?
Maybe. I think maybe. I can't remember if he's the guy who does triangles and just kind of random shapes.
Or is that...
and then Arp, I might have seen. I don't know Laurencin.
Well, they're the master kind of artist, right? Like there's the real art.
Yeah, which is that, and then there's the art of your life, the masters of the trivial, which I think is really cool. You should have called the poem that, Masters of the Trivial.
Well, and that's part of why.
I'm sorry, Mr. Hall, but
that's why partly I was attracted to this was it's so simple. So then my mind starts going into overdrive, like what am I missing, or where are all the connections? And I think you do begin to make some connections. I mean, there's the clear juxtaposition of here's the art, and then here's the valueless, unforgettable detritus, whatever.
I always wonder that, like what qualifies you as a master? I mean, I can see the old school, the Da Vinci's and the Donatellos and things, but when you get into the 20th century, when it just turns into abstract, what makes something better than something else? And I think that's kind of what he's going for here.
Are you a modernist or are you a postmodernist? Because,
I don't know, John. Obviously, I got to look up de Kooning because. I think it doesn't really matter who the painters are. What matters is, in his mind, these are pieces of art because they capture his life. These are moments of his life and of his kid's life, really, because then he goes into the past and talks about his mother's souvenirs that he thought were worthless and were not art, and now he gets it, right? And it's kind of sad because he almost wants to reach out to his mom and say, I get it now, but it's too late, right?
Well, and so clearly, right, there's the juxtaposition between the old and new, but then there's the little hints of I've cherished and stared at for years, right? He really loved the quote-unquote great art, and that was years. But something maybe has changed that now he's being drawn more to these other things, right? And so what was that change? So then I start to try to tease out what was the change. Maybe he's getting older, like you said, he's turning into his mother, and he's thinking of his children, right? And they're whatever. And there's the mention of the great-grandmother, right? So there's another generation, right?
And I think
because that would even be older than the mother Kate, than his mother's mother. There's a third generation back,
which goes way back.
Right? And then he's walking into his house and seeing all of the things, right? So there's this very specific, I'm in my house full of great art, but it's also full of this, which has the stuff from his childhood. Yeah, I don't know.
And long ago, layers, it goes back generations. Right? Well, I also think when I like when he says valueless, unforgettable detritus, right? So valueless, it's not worth any money, but to him it means everything,
right?
Because I'm wondering if maybe his kids are getting older or have already left, or maybe they still are small, but he's starting to think ahead and think, wow, this is going to pass by, and no one else sees the value in this but me. It's just going to get tossed anyway. I think that's really cool. I like how it's, artwork, the art of life, perhaps, right?
But I
Those
wonder,
things that you find in everyday life.
Right, like at the end, right, does he regret throwing stuff away, or is the memory of them enough, right? Because he says, my children's stories, I did my mother's souvenirs of trips with my dead father. I mean, that's like a double whammy, right? Like there's the pleasure of the trips, but then he's instantly reminded that his father has passed away.
Yeah.
Kodaks of kittens, right? Like, don't you, like, you get kittens when your kids are small, right? And he's thinking of, like, maybe a time when his mother brought home kittens. And
Took a bunch of pictures of them.
right, and bundles of cards from her mother, Kate. And that just opens up that whole other, I just love it when, like, a little poem expands like that and just becomes a whole other
There's a whole other world,
full
beyond
universe.
that.
And so the things are the things, the master art, or the things that get thrown away, or is he equating, right? Because they're juxtaposed, but ultimately the reader kind of has to decide which ones, right? Because he did cherish them.
Yeah, and which one is more valuable? Is it these probably expensive paintings that he's been collecting, or the things that mean something to him? You know, if you think about, you know, in archaeology, the stuff that they find from thousands of years ago, that was just someone's everyday life.
Right.
You know, it's like if I were to drop a fork on the ground and in 1,000 years, it's in a museum.
In this room.
Why not in this studio?
If you could
in
see this
high-tech
room,
studio
yes,
is what
you
you're saying.
would see.
Right.
But even like he bought the pictures long ago, so even
Yes.
the art pictures are from his past.
Yes.
But then he goes even back further into his right. So I don't know. Again, I just thought it's simple, but it
And what you said
teases
about
out.
expansion,
Yeah.
I think that sums it up. That was a good way of putting it.
Cool.
All right, thanks for watching. Please join the conversation in the comments on YouTube or on Twitter at Trojan Poetry DGN. Also, check out our website at trojanpoetrydgn.blogspot.com.